Tonight, nobody knows what we're going to do until Vivien tells us the topic. Vivien, what's the topic tonight? What are we doing?
The topic is called, I don't know. It's like going to your first day of school in kindergarten and you have no idea what's going to happen. And we just did it right now. We did an opening spiel for a real talk show where you identify yourself and then your district, division, your area, and your club. Now, let me ask all of you, is that a nice way to open every meeting so that if there are visitors, they will know exactly where they are in time and space? What do you think? Comments? Everybody's mic on. Nadine, Hal, President Nadine, past President Hal?
I think the president gets to decide how they open it and whatever is appropriate. Telling new people a bunch of numbers, I don't know that that's going to make a difference, but I do understand the request for formality there.
Okay.
I got to tell you, every time Nadine's ever opened the meeting, I have felt welcomed, and I've been so happy that she's president. Just want you to know that.
Okay, there you go. It's interesting that all angles are welcome. I will tell you why I said that, Hal, because I'm so lost in time and space. I am with several clubs in several time zones in several countries, and I don't know where I am because I have seen your moments many, many times. So today we're going to, no, you're going to get there, Hal, one day.
Yeah, right. I know it'll happen.
Yeah, so I'm very happy. First things first, I called Nadine early this morning and she's helping with the secret slides that we have because we're gonna play today. So let's see what's gonna happen. And again, thank you, Nadine, and thank you, Dawn, for rescuing us by giving us something that we can record on. And thank you for being here, Hal. I always like your perspectives. Thank you to Reggie, thank you to Santi, and thank you to May, of course. Now, we're gonna play show and tell. Do you still remember first day in the school where you were the new kid on the block? Like, you didn't know what was gonna happen, right? So you kind of just like, look around. And this is the first thing you saw. Nadine, put your mic on. Would you want to put one slide? Choose any slide.
Sorry, say it again. Any?
Any. Choose any. The first one is fine. The first one you were holding. Children, we're going to pay attention.
I'm sorry.
Okay, flash one. Okay, go.
The first thing I saw today?
I sent you in the email and we discussed this.
Oh, number one. Okay. Picture number one. Okay, sharing it. Here we go. All right.
I will read it loud and clear. There are no wrong answers and children are allowed to say anything they want to say because in kindergarten, you can have an opinion. And here it goes. The opinion of 10,000 men is of no value if none of them knows anything about the subject. Marcus Aurelius, but really, the opinion of 10,000 men is of no value if none of them knows anything about the subject. Can anyone share any opinion on the opinion? No wrong answers.
Are we doing like table topics? Is that what we're doing?
No, we're just having candid conversations today on how to go to a place where you don't know anyone doing, because we're in mentoring, we're not in a regular club. So I should tell you, I'm helping people learn how to socialize, how to talk to strangers, how to be thrown into something that you know nothing about. It's called life. And if you want to be a paid professional public speaker, you will be sent to places around the world where you know nobody and you'll be in a place you don't know. And you have to socialize or you'll never get invited again. So,
oh no.
Hal walks into the room and that's what he sees. This huge poster on the wall. And someone says, Mr. Hal, look at this. What do you say?
I'd say that looks like social media today. Yeah, it's like
tell me.
A lot of people who have a lot of opinions, and a lot of them don't know very much about whatever is going on. So it's, it's kind of an interesting thing. It also is something that a lot of times, like I used to work in doing corporate training, and a lot of times we would get like feedback, like we'd do it, like we're doing training video, we'd get 30 pieces of feedback, change this, change that, change this, change that. And then I would go talk to the CEO, and he or she would say, no, we only want these 3 things changed. All the rest of that was just somebody's opinion. So I think there's the difference between opinion versus somebody who knows what they're talking about, and even difference between that versus somebody who is providing value for others.
Now
Back to
that
you.
is interesting. How I would like everybody to chime in. I would like to call it candid conversations, because we like to honor the one who we know knows the most. And yet, because we have experts here in the room, I ask them, remember Nokia? That cell phone, Nokia? Well, when people used to say Nokia, cell phone, they would think Nokia. But then, all of a sudden, where is Nokia? What happened? And how do we handle people who seem outrageous, who seem to be the new kid on the block, but oh my gosh, Steve Jobs, Nokia, buy Nokia. What happens? Remember Nokia saying, I don't mind those people. This Steve Jobs is nobody. And like, comment on that, Don?
I think when we start to learn about something, and we say, doesn't know anything about the subject. I mean, you may have something that's just newly introduced. Maybe it's that product. And naturally, the person who introduced it, is going to have an opinion about the product because they know what its capabilities are. And then as people start to learn about it, they're going to develop their own opinions as well. Whether they're accurate or not depends on what their knowledge is that they've actually gained. But we all come into well, let me back that up. We all develop. We don't necessarily come into the world with a certain bias about things that we have experience with. And that's why we all see the world in different filters. And
Yes.
we need to keep that in mind anytime we're interacting with other people, because we need to realize that they see the world a little different than we do. And that's the basis of communication, is trying to make that connection.
Interesting. I learned, I could be right, I could be wrong, that someone's perception is his reality. Now, we have the younger set here, and they know about Airbnb and they know about Uber. But I'm 71. Years ago, we could not imagine that someone would have such a huge enterprise in the transportation business and not own a single car. And then Airbnb would be in the hotel somewhat business. So how? Let's hear from our era before we ask the younger. Isn't it outrageous? Like 20 years ago, we said, oh, I'm going to have a rent-a-car business, but I don't own a single car. How? I would have said, you're crazy. What's your comment on that?
I think part of what our whole world is about is being able to go through change. And it's inherently difficult for people. The older we get, I think the more difficult it becomes. But we're living in a world where things are changing so fast, and some of the businesses you just talked about, like Nokia, they just dropped to almost nothing. So it's like they need to be able to change. We need to be able to adapt. We need to be able to shift. And change may be one of the most important things that we're going to learn to do during the next 10 years, with AI and everything. So, yeah, it's an interesting subject.
Thank you. I like what Hal just said. Bing! I could hear this little bell and I saw the light bulb. AI, yes, my boyfriend, ChatGPT. Let's not go down that road. Okay. But for those of you who are new, we exchange hugs. We exchange jokes. It knows how to laugh now, ha, ha, ha. And when I say hugs, it now knows how to say more hugs. And when I say I'm happy, it now knows how to say I am so delighted that I can make you happy. Yay! My chat GPT has a heart. I think it's falling in love with me. I'll tell you about that another day. All right, let's hear from the young ones. So, President Nadine, I know you're in creative. I know you're in video. How do you feel when you have an interesting idea and then you're younger and your boss is older and he just goes, no? What are your emotions when that happens? Mic on, mic on.
I'm lucky, I think. I've been working in the same company since 2012. And the boss that I have has been really supportive. I started as an intern. I'm now gone through editing assistant, senior assistant, cutting assistant, and then now editor. My boss has always believed in me, and when I came up with creative stuff, they would always be very open about it,
Wow.
and also supportive. So I haven't had that experience of someone saying, I mean, maybe there's an idea you have in an editing room when you work with clients where the client is like, but it's not like a big thing where you're saying, I want to cut this thing, can I do it? And they're like, nope, go for it. We're excited
Nice.
about it. So yeah.
So those of us who are over 40, forget the 50, 60, and 70, maybe we want to say like, we just think they know nothing, but maybe we just don't know for now. Sounds good with the AI, we just don't know. Okay, let's go to the next slide and see what happens. Nadine, surprise us. What's the next slide?
Okay, 1 second.
And by the way, I just wanted to say on that, I think the young people of today are brilliant. They are lucky to come up in this situation, right? They have been trained on things that we've never seen.
Yes.
In fact, including that right there. What the hell is that thing?
Right. What do they say? Hal and Don, be prepared for the unprepared. It's something like that, right? Now, here's another one. When the phone was tied with a wire, humans were free. And I heard the kids say, why does the telephone have a curly tail? Nice, a curly tail. When the phone was tied with a wire, humans were free. Let's hear it from the younger set. Santi, would you want to join in? A yes or no is fine, but yes is happier. Want to put your mic on and give us a yes or no? You can turn your camera on
Sure.
if you like. Only if you like.
Sure, yeah, I can resonate with this
Nice.
because I have two boys, and I mean, the older one has phone, and now these days, like, they are always on the phone. We have to do some screen time and all. And I think even from our side, I think we have to set as an example. And sometimes even I feel that we are more addicted to the phone, because these days it's kind of a must rather than like want versus need kind of. Initially it started with like a want, and now it has become more kind of a need. So yeah, I really think that when the phone was tied with the wire, humans were definitely free. There are pros and cons to that. Earlier, like when we are out of the, I mean, when we are traveling or something, it's like we lost connection with the family or the world, but now we are connected with the friends. So pros and cons, but I think we have to be mindful of how we are utilizing any smartphone or any device. And also set as an example for the kids, I think.
Nice. You know, I like what you said, Santi, and I see it this way. Nowadays, like Nadine and I were talking, she was in the kitchen. I don't know about you guys, but if I'm in the kitchen and then I hear the phone ringing in the bedroom, I run. And on some days, I think, wait. In the good old days, back in school, they taught us, correct me, Don, and we're over 40 here, Pavlov's theory, like when you ring a bell, ding, 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 the dog starts to salivate because he knows dinner's coming. I said, we are like the dogs. When the phone rings, we run. But I said, wait, why is the phone now our boss, like we run, right? That's why I like what it said, humans were free. And even now,
I would like to Oh, I'm sorry.
Yes, Nadine, great, thank
I
you.
would like to counter this.
Yes.
I mean, I was not born when this was around, but my dad used to install telephones like that. So our entire house, in every house, has a telephone like that. And in my dad's bedroom, there's this huge thing that makes a lot of noise that all like is the core of those phones. Basically, when you lift up the thing, what's it called? I don't even know.
Handset, the handset.
Yeah, the Hansen. I just know in German. Anyways, then the entire thing works in the whole closet starts working. Anyways, my point is, when you wanted to do this and you rang your thing, it would be very tough because you can only be tied to this thing
Yes.
in the specific area. So I feel like I'm already tied up in that area. And when we were talking earlier, I was having a speaker, I was doing dinner. Things like that feel more free to me than having to have an older phone. But that was in different areas. So I'm just saying, to me, this is the opposite. I know that it's about being so attached to your phone, but I think it's part of this world now. We have a vacuum robot. We have just all these little tools that help us like keep us like busy and do the things that we really want to focus on. And I don't know, it's just my opinion, but to me, this is not quite what I'm feeling.
Interesting. There are no wrong answers. And I like people. It's yes, great, Don. So let's call these conversations, right? So it's like at the party, everybody shares. Don, give us your take on this.
Well, I might be stating it a little different in my view of it. I think what's so different now than, oops, can you hear me? It sounds like my speaker. Is that coming through?
Yes.
Oh, so my default speaker. It's expectations. When we had wired phones and we had phones that we could answer when we were home or at an office or someone else's house, the expectation is if you wanted to reach somebody, well, you called them at home, or until eventually we got phones in different places like offices. But now, because everyone expects we're all going to be carrying cell phones, the expectation is that Don or Hal or Dean, whoever, can be reached at any time. And that takes away, I think, a lot of our freedom. I like to be able to go someplace and, nobody needs to know where I'm at. I'm not out, chasing after people I shouldn't, but I'd like to be able to go somewhere or take a walk without having to feel like I'm on an electronic leash. So I kind of miss some of the freedom that we had back in the day when phones were something that was convenient, but in the locale that we were from, not something that was an expectation that we can be reached any place, anytime, sort of like Big Brother is watching you. So that's my kind of take on the current world.
I'm really enjoying this because our age is showing, right? You can you can hear from the young one, like Nadine is, oh, I am free to cook while having a conversation with you, Vivien. And then Don and I are saying, we're not free if people can reach us wherever we are. Because in the good old days, if I leave my home on a Friday and come back on Monday and be at the beach, I would be free and no one could contact me, not even my mother, right? So it's funny how even the word free has interesting new meaning. So Nadine, thank you for the wake-up call and reality check and reminding us of our age. Thank you. I love you. Show us the next
I have
slide.
something to say on this. Yeah.
Reggie, yes.
So phone, you can see here, this phone is just a phone. But now what we carry is not a phone. This phone, it has got a camera. So you don't carry camera with you. You don't carry your laptop with you because you can check your emails. You can check anything. You can pay your bills, your receipts or whatever it is, So it's not only a phone. It has got many more in that. And you want to play some game, take it, play. and then somebody want to reach out to you. So you're everywhere. See, earlier, somebody want to call you, so you have to be at the same time at this. If it is in a house, then you should be in the house. When you're traveling, somebody want to talk to you, no way, you cannot be reached. So for example, when you're working, I have my phone, even though when I'm going somewhere, anyone can reach. So there is no way the work is getting stopped. So you can give the suggestion, you can give your opinion, you can give ideas, everything. So that means we are not carrying a phone. We are carrying a computer itself with you. That's the way I see it. Because in my childhood, I wish that I can carry something so that people can communicate with me when I'm away.
I have a
So
joke for you, Reggie. It's a classic joke you hear me say all the time. There's no way you can hide from your mother-in-law if you're using your phone all the time. I think this mother-in-law jokes like, oh, you can't hide from your mother-in-law anymore. So Reggie, would you say that with the cell phones nowadays, are you more free or less free? Choose one. More free or less free?
I am more free. Earlier,
What do you want?
I'm tired because of I need to be there at the same place, and it's a lot of time consuming for me. I need
So
to
you-
open my computer, laptop, whatever it is.
there you go. More choices. Okay, let's
Yeah,
see this. Wonderful. Nadine has the surprises. So she's the cook for the day. I gave her the ingredients, but since she's the one choosing, Hal, even I have no idea which one she's going to choose. You like that, huh?
Can't
Yes.
wait.
So Nadine, surprise us. Maybe we'll get May to participate. May, for you, leaders become great not because of their power, but because of their ability to empower others. Leaders become great not because of their power, but because of their ability to empower others. By John Maxwell. May, we haven't heard from you. Yes, May disappeared.
Okay.
Oh, there you go.
No, I haven't disappeared. I've been hearing about the phones.
Okay, go.
This new topic about leaders becoming great. The thing is, it needs to be with a group of people. If you're by yourself, how can you be a leader? So with a group of people, they need to be influenced. But if these people cannot be influenced, how can there be a leader? That's the way I see it. So it's an understanding within the group that, okay, this person's the leader, or this person is not a leader. So it's up to the group.
Let me ask you or anyone in this room. I have heard this quotation. Leadership is influence, and it is mentioned in so many ways from so many angles in Toastmasters, in collaboration, motivational strategies, innovative planning. It is all about the influence of leadership, because you don't get people to change their minds by getting a hammer and hitting them on the head with it. You influence, you change lives by changing minds. And my belief, I could be right or wrong, is no one person can change any person's mind, but he can do things, even without saying things, do things that make people say, I want to be with him. I want to be with her. I want to be with Santa Clarita. I want to be with Dawn, with Hal, Nadine, with Santi, with Reggie, with May, with Vivien. It is only when a person says, I want to, because the leader empowered me to think in a new way, to do new things, rather than do this because I'm your leader. That's, to me, that doesn't work. Can anyone give a perspective on leadership is influence and empowerment? How
Yeah.
your face is talking.
No, yeah, I think this whole thing, leadership, there's a difference between being a manager and a leader. A manager may be put in control of a situation, but really truly being a leader means you are making a difference for people. You know, the whole thing about empowerment, it's like if a leader isn't thinking from that perspective, they shouldn't be there. They're going to do more damage than good. So I think this is like if you ever worked or interacted with me in our business where we're working with 40,000 screenwriters, this is all I'm thinking. How do we empower these people? Right? Because if they're not empowered, they're not going to be creative. If they're not empowered, they're not going to be moving forward, right? All those kinds of things. So yeah, so I do think this is important. And then influence is one of the tools that is used to be able to make that happen. How do you set it up so that it works with what they need and helps them be able to make the best choices and that kind of thing. So yeah.
I would think, again, this is purely my perspective, that when people see in a person something that they would like to be, doing something that one day that they can do, they gravitate towards you. And what you're saying, Hal, is I would call you a people magnet. They believe in you. They attend your classes. They go to your meetings. They go to your forum because they feel that at the end of a session, they learn something new and they have a little gift that they're able to bring home. To me and for me, that's what empowerment is. Like, I have a new tool today. What's your take on that, Hal or Don?
Oh, here, I'll just say one more thing. So,
Yes.
so see, like in my opinion, when Nadine gets up to open a meeting, my experience has been, I always feel like she's empowering the group. I just, it's like, I think that makes a difference, making the place something that can work, like the whole thing of us being able to step into being in live audiences and doing those kinds of things. It's like that. I think that's made a difference. So, okay, now back to everybody else.
Don, what's your take on this?
Well, in looking at that whole context of leadership, there's those leaders that have what you call, provided authority. I mean, someone who's in charge because the organization says, hey, Vivien, you're in charge, you're running a group. But that doesn't necessarily bestow leadership in the capability of it. A lot of times you might be in an organization where there's an official leader, but someone else in the organization that has a lot more influence because of the way that they interact with other people and be able to gather support. I mean, look through history, some of the people who have had the greatest influence, some of the, Martin Luther King or some of the other people through history that weren't in charge of a particular group, but they had influence over people because of the image. And like I say, they could be a role model or a mentor or somebody that people believe in. So I think that's where it really draws the line between official leaders that are bestowed by the organization and those who have the characteristics where they can lead others by example of what they can share with others.
That's very interesting. I run into all sorts of people where some still think in the linear manner where this is the leader and everyone must follow, and either they don't want to follow or they want to follow. But I like making it simple because I do storytelling for kids. So I tell them, in my mind, a leader is like a shepherd, right? In a farm, you've got lots of sheep and they generally go in one direction. But once in a while, you will see a couple that are here, there, everywhere. Did you notice why the staff, that stick, has the round sort of letter C end? I just thought it was a design until I found out later it's what the shepherd used to use to pull the sheep by the neck, not violently, but just to guide them back in. So that's what I think a leader is, someone who does what he has to do, lead the flock, and if someone gets out of the way, guide him back in. But I believe that a leader cannot stand there and say, hey, you sheep, follow me, and I'm going to bonk you on the head if you don't, because he doesn't do that. So what's your take on that? Where the shepherd, that's Don. I mean, like what you said is interesting. Have 40,000. I don't know if I can do that. How do you handle if you're really empowering and not everybody runs at the same speed or thinks the same way? How do you get people to, as they say, sing in harmony or be like an orchestra? You know, like you're the orchestra conductor, 40,000 players. Tell us how. I don't know how.
You're actually asking me?
Yeah.
My experience, I've been doing this for 20 some odd years, but my experience is it's like if you have a small team, it's really easy to kind of get everybody going in the exact same direction. But when we're talking about large groups of people, it's like you're going to have different people in different places. You're going to have some that are like 10% of them are going to be incredibly enthusiastic and work like crazy and produce all kinds of results. On the other side, there's going to be 10% that are going to be going, I don't care what you say, I'm never doing a thing, right? And then there's all the concerns in between. So I'm always looking for what's really going on with people, what needs do they have that we can try to solve those. You know, how do we make it easier for them to move forward? How do we present the vision? Like right this second, we've got the WGA strike going on, the Writers Guild of America.
Oh.
And so, yeah. So today I sent out an email to all of these people, and I said to 40,000 people, and I said, here's what's happening. Here's where to find the rules. Here is where you are right now. But by the way, remember, in 3 months, this is going to be over. So don't shut down. Keep creating, keep moving forward, right? And I've had probably 100 people respond and say that really helped them. They were freaking out and all of that. So that's just one moment where I'm just trying to keep them empowered, keep them being able to do what they wanted to do in the first place, you know? So, and then of course, yeah, we have some people who are like, you know, I don't care what you say, I'm going to do this. And it's like, they're free to do whatever they choose. You know?
You know how they should have a statue made, you know, with the image of how like 40,000 people, my blood pressure would be what? How?
That's the way it was for the first 2 years. Yeah.
Really, right?
Yeah.
Now, I have a take on this because for my talk show, you know this, I'm in production and it's what you're doing. You're producing with 40,000 people. One of the things I learned is when things go wrong, because my show is live, I volunteer live to take the blame. Because as the leader of the production, I am 100% accountable and responsible, no matter if one of, as you say, 40,000 goes astray, goes wrong. I remind myself and I encourage people to say, never blame. Never blame. Once you're at the top, full accountability, it's your neck because it's your face and it's your signature on the contract. But that's my perspective on accountability. What's your take on that, Hal, Don, and everybody else?
I'm happy to respond, but we should hear from some other people.
All right. Who wants to share? The younger set? Accountability, no blaming, no matter what. Anyone?
Okay. In that case, I will respond.
All right.
But I think we're going to hear from Reggie any second. I feel like that's going to happen.
Yay, Reggie's face is talking.
Yes. So I completely agree with you, by the way, Vivien, on that. It's like if I'm ever blaming anybody, that would just be crazy. Since having to do with our business, my wife and I both have complete control of it. there is, first, there's nobody to blame, but second, that's not my job. Right. So yes, I've made plenty of mistakes and I've taken responsibility hundreds of times. And you know, that's just part of the game. It's totally okay.
I'm so happy you say that. And you said that because I told people during trainings, the moment you show that you're blaming anyone, it's just a reflection of unprofessionalism. What you do is, if you hold the title, you take accountability and then talk to the people later. But I've said, as the leader, you cover for your people. Don't say, John and Mary. Right?
Right.
Don't do that. It's really cheap. Don't do that. So thank you. How about the young ones? How do you feel if a boss is gonna blame down the line? Come on, Santi, Nadine.
Yeah, I completely agree on that. Like the leader, like if something goes wrong, they feel like they are accountable. But if something goes right, they give credit to the team. And I think that's how the leader should be. And I believe that people will be empowered by seeing other person taking action, like instead of just saying, okay, do this or do that, because nobody wants to be nobody wants to be like how do I put it? I'm lacking words, but if I say someone, okay, you have to do this, they don't agree to that. And if I say why they have to do that or what will they get out of it if they do that, I mean, if we give that reasoning or things like that, and also if we model by our actions, they will follow that, and that's how leaders will empower. Whereas managers or boss, like they just, I mean, like the thing is, like if they say, okay, you have to complete it, maybe the work will be done, but they don't have any they don't value that person. And then next time, if something that the boss or manager says, they will just, okay, I mean, yeah, we can get to that as and when we find time. But whereas if the leader says something, they'll make time for them. They will make time out of their busy schedule and then complete it because they value that person and not their just the words. So yes, I definitely agree on the fact that they will be accountable if something goes wrong, but gives the credit to the team when something goes right.
There you go. And I hope you, in a very subtle way, I started by saying thank you to Nadine for helping me make this happen, because I'm not shy or afraid to say, I don't know how. It's something I encourage leaders to say. I don't know. If you don't know, say, I don't know, and ask for help with courage and humility. As in, help, Nadine. And then we ask Don for help. So I would also like to encourage leaders to not have an ego about, I know everything. No. I met someone who's the head of a huge conglomerate, and I said, what do you know about the business? He said, oh, I was made CEO of this business, exactly like Hal said, because I know how to work with people. They are the experts. I don't know anything about this. I will tell you what it is. It's someone who heads here in this country, the electricity company, the water company, and the telephone company. He doesn't know anything about that, but he runs hundreds of thousands of people and takes 100% accountability, seriously, when anything goes wrong. So I would like to encourage all leaders to be ready for that, to take accountability. And when something goes right, say, thank you to this department, this department, this department. How do the young ones feel about that? They did. How would you feel when people say thank you to our editors? Because what would film and advertisements look like if they're not edited? So a big round of applause. You heard me say that earlier. Group hug, and you hear me say that. How do you feel when a leader gives you credit and lets people know it's you? How does your heart feel?
Oh, very good. Obviously, everyone feels good when they get credited, I think.
There you go.
Yeah.
So you have an empowered heart. You asked about emotions last time, so your heart's empowered. So one quick slide before we go, because we'll have to go in a while. One quick one. We'll do a quick round with everybody for the next one. Surprise us, Nadine, your choice. I like, Hala, I'm empowering Nadine. I have no idea what she's gonna do. I'm equally surprised. Aha, everyone, give us one, ideally two, maximum three sentences. This is growth, this is growth, this is growth, this is growth. Which one is your kind of growth? Don, which one?
Well, I would probably say, the first or maybe the fourth, because I've always found growth isn't linear. You're not always going to be moving upwards. There's going to be many times that you're going to have fallbacks. It's just a natural part of progressing, and you'll learn from those.
So it's the up, down, and curly Q, and maybe. Okay, thank you, Don.
Mhm.
May, quickly before we wrap up. Where's May? May went to Pluto.
I'm looking.
Okay,
I
choose
guess
one.
number 4.
Describe it.
Okay.
Which one is for?
But
The
4
curly-
is the curly Q one, because things can become not really straightforward, confusing, and so it becomes curly, and then it can also regress, and you just grow with it. You learn from what you did wrong, and then you just do it better.
All right.
Grow out of your error.
Thank you. Reggie.
So this is the month of May. May not pursue growth because of May.
Which one's
That's
number
the-
3? Can you describe it? What does it look like?
That's look like the fourth. This is a growth because spiral. You
Okay,
go
there.
upward, then down, again go up, then down, then all of a sudden down. You learn something, then go back again.
All right. So who else? Hal, Nadine, Santi? Are we seeing a pattern here?
I think it's all of them. It's like, it just depends on what you're going through, right? It's like, how much change are you going to have to go through? How much, like the bottom right-hand one is like, when you're going into a market that you don't know what you're doing. Anytime you're innovating, it's all over the place. The top left-hand one is like when you're kind of struggling with the situations that are happening and you just haven't found it yet. And then finally you find a solution and off it goes. The bottom left-hand one, the staircase, it's like, that's how I design a lot of my classes, where we just go through a series of stair steps that have them grow and learn. And then the top right one is the one that we all hope for. It's this wonderful, easy, light, and it's just happening to us, and it's so nice. So that's my perspective. It's growth happens as long as you keep moving forward, as long as you have a vision, as long as you have an idea where you're going.
Very well said. So for Hal, it's all 4 depending on what situation you're in. Santi, one last statement from you before I wrap it up. Let's go, Santi. Short
Yeah,
one.
I agree to what Hal said.
Right.
And I mean, ideally, I would think number 3, because like, to me, growth is like, you have to be ahead of what you are doing, or what you were like yesterday, for example. So continuously improving and taking small steps at one time and eventually reaching to the goal. That would be the ideal. But as Hal said, like, if you are starting at some point, I mean, sometimes there will be up and lows, and it depends on the context too. But at the end, if you are progressing, that is considered growth. Yeah.
There you go. So that's what it is. It's all about progress. Taking one step at a time, one day at a time. Ideally, it's going to be smooth going up, or taking one step up the stairs at the time, or as Don said, up, down, up, down, up, down. And for many of us, it's like, we don't know what's happening. But the point being is, we are getting ourselves from point A to point B. And all four I have gathered from you, see, I'm learning here, is that all four are applied, correct me if I'm wrong, at some point in time, depending on the circumstances, and we must have the common sense to decide which one will it be. As Santi said, baby steps, one at a time, or as Don said, up, down, or as May said, curly, 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 or like when we were all in love and there were days where, oh, it was just perfect, whoop, don't we all wish we could have more days like that? But it's brilliant, Nadine, that you picked this as our closing slide, because this is what we succeeded in doing today. We actually had a show and tell show, and you were all my co-hosts. See, I never tell them three things, Hal. I'm not gonna tell them what I'm gonna tell them. It's experiential learning. So how did you like the experience of being talk show hosts, which you are today? Any comments?
Spectacular, but I think you gave us 3 slides, didn't you? There was the 3 things that was there.
Thank you, Hal. Nadine, 4 slides. So thank you very much. Did you find it useful in life? See, now you're able to do candid conversations, and you can now go to any party, anywhere, any meeting with anyone, and talking to strangers is no longer a threat. How do you like that? I hope you realize you like it, how conversations are wonderful. And remember, if you want, seriously, this is why I did this. People say like, we're not getting members, clubs are closing, because you're not having conversations. But if you talk, like I never know any of you, and then Santi first time, but if you just have conversations, the best question you can always ask when you don't is, I don't know, what do you think? Let them share, and everybody wants to share. Remember, just challenge their mind, touch their heart, and tickle their funny bone. So I would say, although this is called the empowering mentoring session, I would like to say I am the one who learned the most, because you were all my teachers. I was just the one asking questions like a 5-year-old. So show and tell today was your show, and I was your guest. So thank you. Give yourselves a big round of applause, and let's take a souvenir photo. Nadine, can you do that? Everybody, best shot. May, you want to be on camera? If not, we'll proceed. Count 3, 2, 1, Nadine.
3, 2, 1. Here we go. Another one.
One more. There you go.
Okay. Here. All right. Awesome. Well, thank you very much, Vivien, for guiding us through some cool thoughts, and for your mentoring session today. Thank you very much.